Hello everybody. My friend recently came across this machine. He asked me if I can take a look at it and find out if it can be brought back to life. The idea is not to spend much money on it. Maybe gaskets, O-rings, or a nut here or there. We will not invest in it if it needs any expensive replacement parts. Electric starter, 6500 watts. 120 and 240 volt outlets. It looks neglected, rusty. Most likely it was kept outdoors. The back view. You can open the hood, aka bonnet, like in a real Honda. The other side. As you can see, no battery. Empty tank. The air filter is missing parts. No foam ring and no cover. Just the cover is about $45. For now, I will need to attach it somehow. I will have to undo this electric tape and connection. Gas valve. No gas. This fuel hose is ripped. Obviously needs to be replaced. I am getting rid of this connection. I need to be sure I get a good connection to the battery here. Those will connect the battery. The oil level is okay. I will change it with a new oil filter if this thing will be running. Now I will try to crank the motor, and for this I will use such a battery booster. Minus to minus, plus to plus. The starter has a hard time turning it. Maybe it will start with a half turn. I will try with gasoline. Need to change this hose. This kind of pliers is best for this job. Okay, so this is the right size. Cut to length and clamps at the ends. The hose is on. I will remove the handle to get better access to the engine. Overflow tank set aside. I will remove the timing belt cover. An impact driver will not reach all the bolts. I will use this pneumatic wrench. And a simple wrench at the bottom. And here we have the timing belt, flywheel, water pump and ignition coil. The crankshaft turns and I can feel compression in cylinders. The overflow tank, rinsed, goes back and I will fill the cooling system with distilled water, for now, to check for leaks. Gasoline in. Just a little bit, for testing. The valve is opened. I will wait a few minutes for the gas to get into the carburetor. It is cranking but doesn't start. Let's see if the carburetor is filled with gas. Here we have a valve to drain the carburetor. No gasoline. Even when I remove the valve. It looks like the carburetor is plugged. The valve closed. Let's remove the sediment cap. There is no fuel filter. Any debris which may plug the carburetor should end up at the bottom of this cap. Not good. Rust and red paint flakes. Is the gas tank rusting inside? Clean sediment cap goes back in. Air intake pipe. Loosening carburetor nuts. Choke linkage is undone. The carburetor moves. Pipe from the crankcase to the air filter. The new gasoline hose disconnected. Do we have the gasoline flow? Yes, it flows. To remove the carburetor, I must remove this bar. Disconnecting the throttle linkage. Removing solenoid that opens and closes the gasoline flow to the jet. Let's cap the dripping valve. It is not good, it's dripping. I will take care of it later. This hollow bolt not only holds the carburetor cap, but also here the gasoline is sucked from the cap into the jet. The carburetor cap is filled with debris. Looks like rust. Carburetor float. Pulling out this pin, I can remove the float and examine it. I don't feel any fluid inside. That's good. The valve needle looks okay. Let's clean what we can. For this I will use an ultrasonic bath with some detergent. The bottom part of the jet is where the gasoline is sucked into the jet, but in this case it is plugged solid. On the right hand top you can see the color of gas drained from the carburetor. Looks nasty. The cap was washed and rinsed. Let's buzz off the bad stuff. Meantime, let's see if the solenoid is operational. It is alive. The solenoid sits at the bottom and opens or closes the gas flow into the jet. The top part of the carburetor. Choke on this side and throttle on the other. Inside you can see the jet. The fuel is drawn into the chamber based on Bernoulli's law, mixed with the air and atomized. Then the fuel-air mixture is introduced into the engine cylinder. Compression, spark, and yes, Rico, kaboom! Exploding mixture pushes the piston down and we have the motor running. Inside here we have the jet. I will remove and clean it. This hollow bolt holds the jet in. Let's push out the jet. And the jet is out. It is plugged. No, it is not time for beer. In this can I have carburetor cleaner. This should dissolve most of the buildup. I can see through now. Compressed air finished the job. And I'm putting it back. The float. This tip here acts as a valve. The pin is back. I will blow here when the carburetor is upside down. The valve should be closed. No air is passing through. And now I will blow in at its usual position. The float should go down and open the passage. When the gasoline fills the carburetor cap, the float is rising and closes the valve. No more gasoline enters the carburetor. When the float drops, more gasoline gets in. Let's put it back together. Unfortunately, I don't have a new seal for now. We'll use the old one just for testing. The bottom part of the jet that holds the cap. solenoid, needle valve for carburetor draining. I should also clean the idle adjusting screw, but I'm afraid the O-ring there will disintegrate during the removal. The objective right now is to fire up the engine. I will take care of seals, O-rings and idle adjustment later. I raised the generator on one side to prevent fuel from running out during valve removal. The valve is out. Let's blow out any potential debris. Same with the valve. Now I will drain the gasoline to see if it will come with rust or flakes of paint. It is discolored, but not particles of any kind. But the tank can be rusting inside on the top from water condensation. The valve goes back on. Cleaned carburetor. Throttle linkage attached. The carburetor pushed on. The choke linkage and air inlet. Going nuts. Fuel hose attached. The solenoid connectors. Crankcase ventilation hose. Air intake hose from air filter attached to the carburetor. This goes to some kind of sensor. Choke linkage attached. And it works. Let's check the starter commutator. It looks like the circuit is not open in any of the positions. Let's put some fuel again. The valve is open, and I check if gas goes into the cap. It does. The generator was sitting few hours. Let's check if the carburetor doesn't sweat due to overflow or bad seals. And it is running. RPM is on the high side, but it is running. After warming up, the RPM went down. Looks okay so far. Engine running, but no electricity. It is difficult to move it around without the handle, so it goes back on. Checking breakers and fuses. All good. The circuit is not opened here. It indicates that the stator has continuity. I don't know exactly what value I should get here to determine if it is good. I will put it back together on this side. Let's take the generator cover off. Here we have a voltage regulator. Brushes connector. Let's check the stator. It is disconnected. No short to the shell. No open circuit. Once again, I don't know what values I should get here, but it looks okay. Let's check the rotor. One connector to the brushes is disconnected. We read rotor connections on the brushes only. The circuit is open. Let's remove the brushes. Something is unusual here. One brush is shorter. Is it burned? Let's see the slides. One of them is definitely more on the black side than the other. I checked the rotor circuit directly on the slides and it is open. Looks like the rotor has gone south. Rest in peace, little Honda. We will not commit funds to the rescue. What did you expect? Not every story has a happy end. It is not a fairy tale.